What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be seeing if we could swap a DI2 setup from a Fuji Norcom onto my Canyon SpeedMax. Now the reason for this video is because I wanted to upgrade my SpeedMax to DI2, but as you know it's very expensive and I kind of want to see if I could find a budget friendly way of doing it, and I happen to have done that. So this is the donor bike. It's a Fuji Norcom. It's size small, where my Canyon is a size large. I'm going to be taking the DI2 setup off this bike and transferring it over to my Canyon. I'm also going to be using that disc wheel as well. So for what I bought this bike for, hopefully it works out where it only cost me a little bit to upgrade my own bike, and I could ultimately sell this and make a little bit of a profit or break even. So let's get into it. First thing you got to do is you're going to basically work backwards on installation. So I'm going to remove all of the bar tape, kind of get it down so I can get access to both these shifters, get them off, and kind of rework the wiring backwards. Honestly, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Whoever taped these bars did a really good job because that was a pain. But now that we got those untaped, we're going to go ahead, we're going to remove these bar shifters. We're going to remove that one as well. And we're going to break it down so that I could have those off this bike. So for the bar end shifters, if you remove the Allen bolt that's here, it should come off, look like that. And then you just remove it. You could open this end up, and it gives you access to that bolt that fits it right into the end stem. So once those are removed, you just loosen up this center bolt and they just pop right on out. Now with the bar ends removed, we want to go ahead and access the ends of those wires. So if you go into the bike frame, on this bike at least, there's going to be a little controller here. It's a little box right in there, so I'll try to focus in. And yeah, it's in there, it's a little controller. It just connects the leads for the shifters down to the main computer. So we go ahead, disconnect that, and then we can fully remove those bar end shifters. So this is what we pulled out, this little control box. This lead goes up to the left front shifter. This one's the right front, and this one is on the drop bars. So we'll go ahead, disconnect those, and we could fully remove the end shifters. So with that disconnected, you could go ahead and just pull them right through your bars and they should come right out. Now that we have the front part taken care of, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the rear wheel. I'll actually be keeping this disc wheel for my bike as well, so that was something else that came with this. But we're gonna remove it so we could get out the derailleurs, remove those, we could get into some of the internals, kind of, again, reverse engineer this so we could get a full working set. Now with that rear wheel removed, we're going to go ahead and work on this derailleur here. Should be 2 bolts, some connections, take that off, and we'll get to the back one as well. Now with that derailleur removed, we're underneath the bike here. We got to get out the controller, so we can unplug it, completely remove it. We take this out, and most of the brains of the DI2 sit down here. So let's get after that. Now with that removed, you can see the controller here hanging. It's got the 2 leads, which are for the rear side here. So we're gonna head disconnect those leads. We're gonna fish the wire back out, and then we should be able to remove that top derailleur. Now with that removed, we're gonna go ahead and work on the rear derailleur. It's a little more simple. Just gotta free up the wires, 1 or 2 bolts, and then disconnect it at the connector and fish them back. Next, we're gonna remove the crankset. So I'm actually gonna be shifting this one to my current bike as well because I'm 105 and this is Ultegra. So you wanna remove the 2 Allen nuts or bolts on either side, and you wanna remove the preload cap as well. If you don't have a preload cap tool, you can do what I did, just jam your finger in, give it a good spin, and it should come out. It shouldn't be that high of torque, so you should be able to do it yourself. But once that is off, you can remove this crank arm and take that off. Set it aside, and then you could remove this crank arm. Once the crank arm's removed, you could slide that crankset out. We could get into the internals and remove the final bit of this DI2 system. And with it all out, you want to fish out that lower control box. Make sure you mark down where everything's plugged in, and then unplug it and finally fish out the last 3 wires. And lastly, you want to go ahead and disconnect the battery. So on this one, it's located underneath the seat post. I was able to disconnect it as I slid it out. So it plugs in right there, battery slots in, so you disconnect that. You're able to remove that from the seat post, and that should be it for wiring. All right, so we're all done with this bike. We're gonna take it down, we're gonna put the canyon up here, and we're gonna get started on that. We've got all our parts here laid out, and everything we're gonna do to swap it over. Let's get into it. All right, we have my pride and joy up here. It's gonna be tough for me because breaking it down is gonna be hard. For reference, I'm not a bicycle mechanic, but I am a licensed diesel mechanic, so this all comes pretty easy to me. Yeah, so we'll get started taking the chain off, taking the rear derailleur, kind of working our way forward compared to what we did last time. Just a quick update, I had to remove the bento box so I could access the innards. I'm gonna go ahead and install the end shifters, run the wires down to at least here so I could kind of see my length. There might be a space in the headset itself for the front controller. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to tuck it down here. It all depends on the wire length, but that's what I've been doing. This is only 2 bolts. Now with those all fitted up and on, I gotta run the wires down, find a nice space in and around the handlebars, and see if I could either work it so it sits in here with the controller or down here. We got those on, those are looking good. Now with those fed through nice, we're gonna go ahead and work on the rear derailleur and the front derailleur. So moving back up to the headset here, I actually was able to remove this just for Allen bolts. It opens up the room in here so I could put my controller A and wire in the connections nice so everything's internal to the headset. You see the box here. It's gonna be sitting on the inside in here, so we'll go ahead and do that. So now we got it all tied in. It's nice, comes out of the tri-bars right into this junction box. We just have the 1 wire coming out that's gonna run down into the frame. And it was a little bit of a pain, but I got it done, so that's nice. Now, even with the hydration system back on, the wiring's all clean. I actually moved this one back here so it has space to move around while also not getting twisted on one side. It's gonna feed back into the frame, but overall, front is done, which is nice. Now I gotta take off the crank, get into the internals, and kind of wire it inside. And now with that crank off, we could access the innards. There's also a little panel down here we could open up. This will give us access from the bot base as well, so this will all tie in very nice. Don't do what I did, maybe support the side of the crank when tapping it out so it doesn't fall, but either way, it's coming along. Next on the Speedmax, I'm gonna remove the seat. That way I can put the battery in. I can kind of do some internal routing. From what I've discovered, the control boxes have to be mounted down in here because there's no room down there, which is fine. So I gotta do that as well. So here's the seat post. As you can see, the battery actually fits in pretty nice without any modifications. Just kind of slides right in there, which is all I could ask for. It'll sit just like that, which is nice. All right guys, some trial and error, but ultimately I've fished all 3 wires down to where they're gonna be. This is an older model, so I have the battery charger here. This is gonna plug in and tuck away up beneath. If I want to charge it, I'm gonna pull it out, just charge it. It's time to put the seat post in, run that wire down, and then hook everything up, make sure it works. Just quickly, if you're wondering how I fish them, I took a coat hanger, made a little bend on it, and I was able to fish it all through the frame. Worked really well, especially for the seat post and the down tube, so budget friendly, works well. All right, everyone, seat post is in. All the wires are run down. Looks good. I didn't have to buy any conversion kits or anything for this, so it is very nice. Canyon basically manufactures their Speedmax to be compatible with either or. So I'm gonna try to wire in my boxes and get a test run, see how everything works. Got it all wired up. Time to do a test run. Start with the front derailleur, see if it works. Looks good. Now the rear derailleur. Looks good. Now I gotta hide that up in the frame, and I think it's all back together. Just a few adjustments. The panel is back on. All the components are inside. I think that's a pretty well done right there. Now we're gonna go ahead and throw the Ultegra cranks back on. All right, so I got it all back together. The disc wheel is on. Everything's in. I just ran through the gears briefly, and it's gonna need some adjustments, but overall, I'm very happy with how it turned out. Everything switched over pretty flawless, so yeah, now I got a full DI2 Canyon Speedmax, so I'm happy about it. Let's see if I could sell this other one.